blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
This is Wine, Money, and Song. And if you want an insider's view of the wine industry, and if you're interested in learning about wines in different wine areas, please subscribe. So in the year of 2024, here at Wine, Money, and Song, we worked very hard, as you can see by some of the bottles that we tested and reviewed. And someone has to do this hard work. And fortunately, all of my subscribers have me doing this hard work for you. So it was an enjoyable year. And the market, every year there's more and more outstanding wines coming onto the market. And there's more and more choices, which makes it more difficult in a way for consumers to choose. And that's part of the reason why there is Wine, Money, and Song, to help you get pointed in the right direction. And last year, some of the standout wines, and I'm a fan of Hamilton Russell, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Very good wines for like $35, $40. Another memorable wine was Chateau Léoville Lascasse, 1979. Some Chiantis. And we had Pichon Lalande. Can't read it without my glasses. 1986, a great vintage. That's just some of them, and the Magnum of 94 Aubryon, and a lot of Argentine wines, some wines from Costco, some wines from Trader Joe's. And in the coming year, hopefully, we can keep doing similar tastings and bringing you products that are alternative from some of the luxury items. Last year we had some Montrose 04, some Petrus 94, and all the other bottles. But what I'm going to try to do is to keep my eye on values for you guys. And there's going to be a lot of changes in the market as far as second and third labels coming out, because of the oversupply of wine and because of the big harvest, especially 2023 in California. So let's get into what happened in 2024 and what I think is going to happen in 2025. So this is the first episode of 2025. Happy New Year! 2024 was very tumultuous in the wine industry, and for me, I had a lot of health problems, but I'm climbing out of the rabbit hole. My health is finally good. It took a long time, thanks be to God, and my family. So before I get into what I think is going to happen 2025 in the wine market, looking ahead, I just want to have a retrospective of what happened in 2024, because if we're not cognizant of history, we're going to repeat it again. So 2024. What happened in 2024 was a continuing slump in the wine business, and this has been going on for 5 years now, and I don't see any signs of it stopping. It's slumping because per capita consumption is down, and it's been down the last 3 years. The volume of wine being sold, cases, is down, and revenue is starting to fall now, and that's a first. And what happened to the wine business was when COVID hit, everyone was getting checks, and they were staying home, and they were drinking a lot. So what that did is that increased consumption and sales of wine, and also the producers shoved the prices way up. And it was like a sugar fix, COVID. A lot of money, and people were home drinking a lot. So it drove prices up, it drove sales up, but
once COVID was over, sales went down and prices didn't follow. So that's part of the problem why everything's going down with high prices, and inventories are swelling. There's a lot of wine overseas, globally, and a lot of wine in inventory here in America. Importers and distributors are sitting on a lot of wine. Now, in California, 2023 was a very good vintage in California and a very large supply. So what does that mean? Well, one of the facts, by the way, many grapes were left on the vines. So 25 to 30% of the wines were not harvested in 2023. They just let it rot on the vine because they didn't have contracts from other wineries who wanted the grapes, and they usually contract for it. So that was scary. There were winery sales, people selling out to other wineries, and there were bankruptcies also. And that's very scary. And what does that mean? That means there's going to be less wineries, less competition, and I'm afraid more wineries are going to go out of business. And one of the bad signs of 2024 was the failure of the 2023 Bordeaux Futures campaign. Although they reduced prices 30 to 35%, it was a failure. And even though it's an excellent harvest, demand was very low. And part of the problem is the younger generation is not drinking wine. They're not consuming wine. They're not interested in wine. And that's something the wine industry has to work at. So let's get to 2025 and what my projections are for the coming year. Now, the world economies are struggling, and globally, wine sales are down all across the world. And France, it's down a lot. Now, champagne sales, the largest segment, goes to France, and it's way down. It's over 20% down, champagne sales. And champagne was another one of the culprits during COVID. They really raised their prices high, and now it's flagging demand. And, there'll always be a market for these wines, but at what price? And I don't see them lowering prices unless importers are stuck with it and then they lower it for a short period of time. But champagne producers own prestige companies besides champagne, and they can weather the storm. So I don't see them lowering prices. So there's continuing falling consumption and sales. And government campaigns against alcohol are spread all across the country. And with the incoming Trump administration, they're going to be anti-alcohol also. And with that pressure, it strangles any sort of growth. And what's happening in America and what's happening globally, vineyards, grapes are being pulled up and being substituted with other crops like almonds, olives, and etc. So there's going to be less of a harvest of grapes, and this is globally, as I said, but in California especially. The business in California, if you really think about it, the price of Napa Valley wines are crazy. It starts around $75, and you got to stop having wine as a luxury item. You got to make it more affordable and more that you want it every day on the table. And pricing it like that, it's not suitable to increase the wine culture. So what's going to happen too is there's going to be a lot of consolidation of wineries. Like a big winery will buy 2 or 3 smaller wineries, and they will include that production into their label. And those 2 other wineries they bought, that label will disappear. Now, there'll be less wine made. There'll be less wine made. So that'll hopefully put a quash on the oversupply. But hopefully this is only temporary. But so far it's almost 5 years. So we still have a distance to go down. There'll always be a fine wine market, but it's still on a slide. Will prices fall on the top brands? I don't think so. But you'll see a lot of second and third labels, especially from California. And you'll see closeouts from big retail stores, Costco and Trader Joe's, and maybe Total will see some of the bigger wineries come in and give them great prices on certain things, and they'll pass it along to you. That's what I expect. But understand something. The wine is filled with an oversupply of high quality wines, and there's less wine drinkers. And until we get more wine drinkers and we stem the oversupply. Now, I've been talking about how Washington State has pulled up a lot of vines. California's pulling up vines. Bordeaux's pulling up vines. Spain's pulling up vines. So it's economics 101, supply and demand. So once they can get that supply in tune, then prices will balance out. And the last thing that we have to watch for in 2025 is the threat of tariffs on imported wines. Now, rumored to be 25%. Now, 25% is a lot. And if a 25% tariff is applied to imported wines, it's going to send a shockwave through the wine market, through demand, and also importers going either dropping lines or going out of business. It's going to squeeze everyone. So what can happen is if it goes up 25% tariff, maybe the importer takes 10%, maybe the retailer cuts off 10% and doesn't pass the 25 but passes 5%. We'll see what happens, but tariffs are taxes, and it's on the bottom price that you pay. Now, the incoming President Trump, I think, is using this as a bargaining chip, and hopefully it is played very, very judiciously, or else if it happens 25%, it'll put a real monkey wrench into the wine industry. So that's my predictions for 2025. Happy New Year's, and may God bless everyone, and let this be a healthy and happy New Year, and looking forward to talking to you in the near future.